This book is about how to make profitable offers, specifically how to reliably turn advertising dollars into enormous profits using the combination of pricing, value, guarantees, and naming strategies.
Welcome back to Champion Reads, where we delve into the best books by the best authors to give us the best strategies for our best lives and business. There's a lot of bests in there. Champion Reads is brought to you by Champion Circle, where you can achieve anything in 90 days. Champion Circle is a mastermind networking accountability platform. You can find more about us at mychampioncircle.com. We're brought to you today by our executive co-host, co-producer, Mr. William Blake, and myself, Ian Sturmer. Today, we are discussing and kind of wrapping up Alex Hormozi's wonderful book, $100 Million Offers. I don't know about you, but $100 million could make my life a little bit different than it is right now. So $100 million Offers is really just what it says, how to create offers so good that your customers are stupid not to go for it. And as we talked about some of the keys in building those offers, we're going to focus on a couple more today. The first of those is urgency. There has to be an urgency in your offer. You know, if you can do something anytime, I procrastinate. I do that all the time. It's like, I can mow the lawn today, tomorrow, or the day after. Obviously, it's going to be the day after tomorrow that I choose to do that. But my mother's coming to visit. Now I'm going to do it today. Suddenly there's an urgency. So if we're going to craft these offers for our clients, there has to be a reason for them to buy now instead of putting it off till later. Because $100 million is great, but if you don't get it for 30 years, you've got 30 years you need to figure out what to do before then. So William and I were talking kind of in the green room before this about urgency. And Alex Hormozi uses the example of his personal life in owning gyms and creating strategies for gyms. And I brought up the idea that the likelihood of joining a gym goes up dramatically 2 months before your high school reunion. Now, William's a little younger than me, so his high school reunions, there's not as much change probably. For me, there's a lot more change between when I was in high school and when I go to a reunion now. So there's more of a desire to fix things. There's more of a panic almost to get things done, to look good in time for that reunion. So that was one of the examples that I thought of how we can build urgency. So in our business, how do we get our customer to say yes now instead of, oh, I really like that. Let me think about it. Because we all know that let me think about it means it's not going to happen. And I see William's got his mouth all ready to say something there.
Urgency is valuable to be able to get stuff done. I'm sure everyone can remember back in their college, maybe even earlier high school age, when a assignment came up or a big project was due. I don't know about y'all, but I waited until the very last minute to do it. The night before, I would stay up. I remember this one specifically. Andre Kirilenko, for those who know basketball, he was a basketball player on the Utah Jazz. My favorite back in the day. I was supposed to, in art class, draw a picture or like a portrait about, it was like a 3 foot by 2 foot paper, like a massive paper. Draw him from a picture that I got on the internet and then show it in class. We had half of the semester to do it. I waited until right the day before to finish that project. And I remember I was sitting there and I was drawing and shading and doing all that stuff. And I finally was finished and I looked at the clock and it was 4:30 in the morning. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to sleep. I'm just going to stay up. I have to get up in like an hour or two. So that's like my first and only all-nighter that I ever pulled. But the pressure to get stuff done puts at least me, and I'm sure a lot more people, into a productive mode, into actually taking action rather than thinking about it. So when I think of urgency in a business, I think of sometimes we need to push other people to make a decision, or else people are going to stay in limbo their entire life. Like nothing is going to change if there's no need for it to change. That's why when we bring the value, when we bring the guarantees, when we bring the gifts and the everything that goes with it, we get to that point of, now that we have it and presented it, let's create a little bit of urgency so that people actually make a decision. Because like you said, Ian, the people who are like, oh yeah, let me think about it, they're just think about it people. But the people who actually make the decisions, it's either a yes and either a no. And for anyone out there who's done like coaching services or a business, a customer in sales or that, we love customers when they say yes. We also love customers when they say no, because that means we are finally free of trying to convince them of something. I don't have to spend hours of them continually saying, yeah, I don't know. So urgency is important.
Yeah, I actually just had that experience a couple of weeks ago. I came back from a couple of business meetings and was talking to some friends, and I said, oh, how was your day? I said, I turned 2 weak maybes into definite no's. So that was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
But again, it gets them out of the way. But going back to that urgency in our business, my mind is flooded with these examples now. But we talked about coaching. Now in Champion Circle, we're doing a lot of work with social media and posting and putting videos out there for everyone. But our goal really is to get people to attend our actual meetings. And there's an urgency in that side, because watching a video probably won't change your life. But attending these meetings, attending these mastermind groups has that potential to. So if we just say, oh, go watch our videos, people can do that anytime. There's no pressure. And in their mind, they're thinking, well, yeah, someday I'll do that. But if there's an urgency, we have a meeting on Thursday. Did I get the right time in that? Thursday at 7:00. Now there's a timeline. There's a definite thing you have to do. People are forced to make a decision, yes or no. And people who are on the fence are going to lean towards that yes more when they realize that it's their only chance to do it. It's their last chance. So building up that idea that there's a deadline, it's either now or never. You've got to finally make your choice, because nothing in life happens until you finally stop to make that choice. So urgency, how do we create that sense of urgency in our businesses?
An example and then a principle comes to my mind. The example was something that actually happened last night. So Marianne Hickman, wonderful individual. She speaks on helping speakers to be able to speak and make money doing it. So she had a thing last night with her event on teaching people who haven't usually heard of her, jump in there. And being one of her friends, I jumped in to support her. As I was listening, one of the things she said was that you should never create a product and then push it to people. You should always have people create the product and then find the solution for it. So that didn't make sense. You want to be able to see, like, you want to have a commonality amongst the pains or the questions that people have, and then find a solution for that. Because then you have a market for people to go into, rather than me sitting here being like, oh, this sounds really cool, and then trying to push it out when there might not be a market for it. When she said that, I thought, this is a great idea to do with my coaching. So I went on Facebook to one of the groups that we have. Specifically, it's like a adult dyslexic support group that has tens of thousands of people that are in there. And I made a post. I'm like, dyslexic help, please. If there was a program or ebook out there that could help you to be able to hit a goal, what would you want to be inside of it? And I briefly checked it this morning. I'm going to go back to it in a little bit. But there were so many comments. And I remember there were like 3 or 4 commonalities that kept popping up. And that generated ideas for then me to be able to find value that I can give to other people. Because these are questions and pain points that people continually are having that aren't being solved. What if I can find a solution for it? So wrapping that over to the principle, and I'm sure, Ian, your mind's going on this. Actually, before I jump in the principle, I'm going to throw it to you for ideas, because this principle is kind of on another field plane. So I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, as you were saying that, it brought to mind an example or an idea that Alex Hormozi mentions in the book. So you find that pain point, you find people that want that solution, you create a solution for it. In this case, maybe a live seminar or a live webinar for it. So, okay, I'm going to present solutions for it. You've already gone on there and found that there's 100 people who are saying, I need this help. I need help as an adult with dyslexia to function better in my job, as an example. So if you see 100 people there, then you create a webinar saying, we've got 75 seats available this coming Wednesday. If you sign up today, you get 50% off. Now you've created urgency by signing up today to get a discount, to get a lower price. That's going to increase people's desire to move on it now. You've got a deadline when the webinar, the seminar is going to happen, that if they don't sign up by then, they're out. Now, you've also created an urgency because you've only given 75 seats when there's 100 people. Now, when you do that webinar, you've got 25 people that couldn't get in. Well, that's bad business, right? No, it's not. Because now you have 25 people who realized they could not get in last time. And you send them saying, hey, next month will be our second webinar on this. If you sign up now, we're going to give you a 60% discount. Now they're thinking, I missed out entirely last time at any price. Now I can not only guarantee to get into it if I sign up now, but I get a better discount if I sign up now. So you've created a double urgency in that. So once you found that demand, create a supply smaller than the demand, and you'll build up an urgency. And then setting those deadlines through pricing and simply the availability of the product at a certain time is going to build that urgency. So that was my thought, what you said.
Yeah, Alex, he talks about that a little bit in his second book, $100 Million Leads. And it's more focused around the lines of when you're trying to get your first 5 customers. You start out with asking for 100% discount, saying like, I'm taking 5 people on, 100% discount or free to jump in my program. Then after you get those 5, the next 5, you bump it up to 80% off, then 60% off, then 40, then 20, then your original price, and then 20% more than your original price, then 40, and it keeps going up from there. Right. But creating that urgency of, we only have this many spots before prices are either going to go up or until it's going to be a time till we do it again, absolutely creates that urgency. If I can jump to that principle, it's from Stephen R. Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. in there, he shows this chart on the proactive habit of, on the top row, I think it's the top row, it's urgent and not urgent. And then on the bottom, it's important and not important. And so things that are like super urgent for us to do are in that first quadrant of it's super important and it's super urgent. This would be if your house is on fire. If your house is on fire, that becomes the number one priority, and it is very urgent to get it done. Other things might be taking your kids, less serious, right? Taking your kids to school, or needing to get a project done at school and it's due the next day, right? These are important things that are in the life, and are urgent. With our goals and what we're aiming towards, they are important, but they're not urgent. So there's like no deadline for us to try to reach our goal to build a business to $100 million. There's no urgency for us to be able to achieve a certain result unless we put that onto the make a deadline for it. So as I'm thinking about this, it's like we have those inherent, it's important, it's urgent, but then everything that we want and that gets us the best results are the ones that are important but not urgent. And so what we have to do is we got to make time for that, and we got to make them urgent, being like, if I don't lose 20 pounds in the next couple months, then I'm going to be a failure. That's not the right way to do it, right? But that the principle of create urgency for your goals, because yes, there's time for you to do stuff, but there's also not time. The best time to do something was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So why not start today?
Yeah. And I think that's our job as sales marketing, which is really what this book is about. We need to ideally find importance and urgency. Whatever we're doing, our business, our product or service, I hope is something that's important. But we need to convey the urgency, or sometimes create the urgency for our customers. Sometimes we need to create the importance for our customers if they don't recognize the importance. So we need to find a way to move what we're doing into that top left quadrant of important and urgent. And crafting our offers is what Alex Hormozi is teaching us here, how to create an offer that becomes important and urgent. Not saying our customers don't know what we do is important, but how often do we find something, say, oh, I never knew I needed that until I saw it. Now that I see it, I realize I need it. Never knew that was something important. So as we build these offers, find out what's most important. And I love that you've done that in your example, going online, going into that group and finding out what's most important to people. Because you can make the best seminar, the best podcast, the best workshop in the world, but if nobody thinks it's important, it's not going to go anywhere. And then the next one is to build that urgency in it. And building urgency, I hate to say gimmicks and tricks, but that really is what a lot of it comes down to. Because if it was already important and urgent in our customers' minds, they would have already bought it. So moving forward, we need to create that urgency. And it can be something as simple as pricing. Another example we talked about before the podcast started. Every week in the mail, we get a grocery coupon flyer. Coupon good until October 31st. This week only is a sale. And I made the example then that I better go buy that fourth jar of peanut butter because it's saved 25 cents now, and who knows what it's going to be in 6 months when I actually need it. So there's an urgency, even if there wasn't a need. And that's what we need to create in our customers. Show them a need, show them the importance, but create that urgency. And pricing is probably the easiest way to do it. We mentioned scarcity in our last podcast. There's only 25 seats available, first 50 customers only. buy now and you'll get a free bonus, and bonus is a later topic for this one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things with urgency, but if we don't get that urgency, we're going to get customers saying, oh, I love that. Let me think about it.
Here's an idea I want to throw out there.
Yeah.
I thought about this, and I don't like when people say something when it's not true.
Yes.
That's it. Mic drop. We're done with it.
Yeah.
No, I don't like when people lie when they market. Some people will go out and say, we only have 10 spots or 25 spots for this event, for this, let's say, a webinar. And then you get on and there's like 100 people on there when there's only supposed to be 25. It's like 25 exclusive spots. You get one-on-one coaching, and then they just let as many people in there as they want instead of 25. I don't like when people do it that way. So I think with this urgency, there's a thing of being honest about what's going on, but still making your business work, and then lying about it to try to get as many customers as you can. Because when you lie about it, like, people will see when it comes up. But when you're truthful about it, and here's the way you can make money off of it. If your event was if you are, let's say, exclusively coaching 25 individuals, then say that. Say you're coaching 25 individuals. Once you hit that 25, stop. And then on the back end, when more people are wanting to come in, tell them the next thing that you're doing, that you're going to bring up the next round of 25 in like a month or a quarter, right? Or maybe a week, depending on what your program is. Because that way people get that there's a lot of demand for it, but it's very scarce. And because it's very scarce, you create the urgency of being like, oh, if I don't jump in right now, then this next round, I'm not going to make it. And when you do that, you not only focus and keep your integrity when it comes to the 25 that are in there, but then also on the back end, you have individuals who are interested and that you have for the next round. And maybe you're able to adjust it to where you can have more people in there, or increase the price, because as you continue to build your skills and as you get better, you become more valuable and you can share with other people. So I wanted to bring up that principle because as you were talking, Ian, it's very important that when you go out and create urgency for other people, don't lie about it. Don't be like, I'm just going to put this random number out there and have as many people as I can because I am marketing. I am creating urgency. Nah, brah. That's not how you do it. The way to make a successful business is by doing it with integrity. And you can do everything we've talked about with integrity, and it'll amplify your business, not subtract from it.
Right. Integrity is absolutely critical to everything we do, and especially that. As you're talking, I thought of two examples I see all the time. So I passed by a furniture store that said closing out sale or going out of business sale. Have you ever seen that in a furniture store? Have you ever seen a furniture store that didn't have a going out of business sign on there? It might have been going on there for 4 years saying going out of business, trying to create a sense of urgency. And you almost want to celebrate when they go out of business because they're just really scamming people with it. And the other one is, we're both here in Utah, and I never saw this sign till I came here, but I passed places that say 50% off sushi, and it's like a permanent sign. Okay, if it's always 50% off, isn't that actually the price?
Yeah.
It's not a discount. They're not being genuine in these things. And I think we need to be honest and be truthful in what we're doing. There's marketing gimmicks that we can do that are still honest, and maybe you can fit 100 people in your seminar and there's demand for 100, but you choose to only let 75 in. Yes, it's a marketing gimmick, but as long as you say 75 and you let 75 in, then you're being honest, you're being truthful, because you're in control of how big you want that group to be for whatever reason you choose. But I love what you're saying with that. And I think that's the foundation I try to make of everything I do is to have integrity in my business. Otherwise, you can get rich quick and then go to jail soon.
Yeah.
Get rich quick and go out of business quick. You're not going to get repeat customers. You're not going to get referrals. You're not going to get that building of a business if it's not based on something that people believe in and trust. So that's,
you nailed it.
Yeah,
you nailed it. It's if people aren't, let's say with the marketing example, if people aren't integrable with their marketing, when you get into their program, will they have integrity with everything else that they do? Right? Like in their program, how do you know it's going to work? In their program, is there something that, like, if you had an issue and go in and they're just like, oh no, that's not how we do it, you kind of screwed that way, right? Like what you do, how you do something one way is really how you do something the other way. It goes to that phrase, what you do in private is also what will repercuss in public. I know that's not the quote. There's some other fancy, more smooth way than that.
Now it's original to you though, for that quote.
Yeah. And I totally just forgot it. So I need to re-listen to this. But when it comes to, I'm glad it's interesting how it jumped from urgency to integrity with this. But the thought with it is, like, it's very important that when you do things the way that you want other people to do things, you become a different person. Like, if you want to make friends, go out and be the friend that you want other people to be. If you want God, I'm not going religious, but if you want God not to find a loophole in whatever you're doing in the last days, then don't try to find a loophole here on earth, right? There's so many different ways you can take this. Be the person that you want other people to be, and you will find that your friend groups, your inner circle, and the people who you surround yourself with, that they are going to reflect that. And that's probably one of the best ways that we can see it. If the people that you surround yourself with aren't really the best of individuals, you might need to take a double check on yourself and seeing, because they are my closest and that what we put out, we bring back, am I the best? Am I being the best right now? And if you are being the best that you can be, awesome. That's what you're doing for your life. But if not, then have the honest conversation that maybe there's a little bit that you need to change. And it's through change that we progress.
Absolutely. And I know this is kind of taking a different direction, but I had a conversation with a friend about this not long ago. And she made the comments like, they can't expect me to be perfect. And I forget the whole context, but my response is, well, I want to be perfect. I'm not there, and I probably will never be there, but my goal is to become perfect. And I try to look at my biggest flaws and start working on those. And once I get those down, then I start working on the next ones. And I can probably say now that I have given up all of the sins that I don't like. So now I'm just trying to work on the sins I do like. But sorry, going back to this, how you react or how you act in difficult situations reflects how you're going to act. That probably wasn't the best way to say it, but I was trying to segue into my example. So one of the things that I work on work on is Medicare. And Medicare has a lot of rules and regulations. And one of those is, when somebody says, I want to meet with you about Medicare, I have to get them to sign a form and wait 48 hours before I can talk to them. The government's decided that's what they want to happen. And I get people say, well, that's ridiculous. Can't you just meet with me now? I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. And I respond, well, if I'm willing to break this rule for you now, what does that say about how you can trust me to obey the rest of the rules going forward? Wouldn't you rather have someone who goes with the inconvenient, to be honest, rather than following the urgency, to go back now, of meeting now? But let me show you I'm going to follow the right way to do it, so that you know it's done the right way. I'm not going to cut corners on that.
Yeah, it's yeah, you spot on. That's right where it's at, because I'll make it short because it seemed like you had a continued thought. But who we are in private is who we are in public. And when we get into the mode of doing the uncomfortable right rather than the comfortable wrong, those are people that I personally want behind my back, because I know that even though it's going to be uncomfortable for them, that they're going to tell me the truth about what's up. If it's uncomfortable for them, they're going to stand up and take a bullet for me. Dying for someone else is not comfortable. But when you have a relationship and trust that's fitting that way, it's a lifetime friendship. I'll let you continue with your thought.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking, it's the old saying that when you're forced to choose between the easy way and the hard way, choose the right way. So I I was just had my mouth open because we're kind of at the top of the half hour for us today. So let me bring it back to the urgency idea, because we urgently have to close our final thoughts on this one. But yeah, building urgency. And again, there's tricks, there's gimmicks, there's tried and true methods, but there's also right and wrong. There's honest and dishonest. And, just because you create a sale that's 50% off if you buy by Thursday, that's still honest as long as you're following the rules you set up. If you say that and then somebody signs up Wednesday and you charge them full price, or you keep giving everyone else later the half price, now you're diluting your brand. You're diluting your integrity. You're diluting what you're trying to offer people. Unless you're trying to scam people, and then you're showing how to do it. Sorry, I'll close my thought and pass it back to you. That read a great dad joke the other day. So I just ordered this book on how to scam people, $39.99. Still waiting for it to arrive. So, anyway, let me turn it to you for your final thoughts, and then we'll close out for this session.
I love it. I love your dad jokes. They're always
Thank
fun.
You.
My final thoughts on this is not on the side of integrity, but on the side of urgency, as we kind of wrap this, like you did, back around to that topic. So that when you're creating something urgent, create it in the way that true urgency will be able to show. So in Alex Hormozi's thing, like when in his second book, $1 Million Leads, you have 5 people for free, then 80%, then 60%, and you work way up to normal price, and then even further past that. When you do it that way, of course, it creates urgency, but I think there's a bigger thing of reputation. When you create your reputation, goodness, dyslexia is hitting me hard this morning. Wow. When you're trying to build your reputation, Ian, you give a great example that if you continually offer it at a discount, is that something you want to stick with? Like, do you always want to be offering things at a discount, or do you actually want to make some money? Do you actually want people in there for the right reasons? If you continually discount your standards of what you're aiming for, then how do you expect other people to not come back and discount you? So as you go out with integrity, as you go out with your urgency, and as you continue to give guarantees and make your marketing and business thrive, just always remember that what you do reflects more on just the short term. And as you think of more long term, as Alex Hormozi is the biggest advocate of this, he's always like, give, and continue to give. And when you think you need to receive, give some more. Because as you give and as you wait for that moment to when you finally ask for the receiving end, it's going to multiply. So as you go out and continue to build your business, in this wonderful world. Continue to follow the principles that we've talked about in these last couple episodes of $100 Million Leads with Alex Hormozi, because he's spot on in a lot of areas. And as you grow your business, grow it with integrity, grow it with urgency, because sure, we have tomorrow, but we never know when the day will come to where we won't have it anymore. So choose today to make the life that you want, and you'll be surprised about what you're going to get.
Love that. We'll always have tomorrow until there's no more tomorrow. So build that urgency. Yeah. That's what we need to teach our customers, our clients, that there is an urgency in it. And we need to be full of integrity and honesty in what we're doing. But it doesn't mean that there's not an urgency along with the importance we have. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us today as we discussed Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers, here on Champion Reads. Again, Champion Reads is brought to you by Champion Circle, the mastermind, accountability, networking organization, and so much more. That you can achieve anything in 90 days. I think that's the new tagline we've been using for that one. 90 days is the urgency. So if you wait till tomorrow, apparently you only have 89 days to achieve anything. And pretty soon you're down to about 3 days, and that's a lot harder. So join today. Go to mychampionscircle.com to find out more about what Champion Circle has to offer and when you can meet up with us. Champion Reads is, again, looking into the best books by the best authors, by the best co-host, Mr. William Blake. And then you get to hear me as well, Ian Sturmer. If you would like to find out more about us, talk to us, share ideas, thoughts, you can reach us at info@mychampionscircle.com. And most importantly, and you need to do this right away because this is critical, that urgent and important that you do, reach out and hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the other words of wisdom that will come to you and the best books that you can learn from. So with that, thank you for joining us, and look forward to talking to you again next week.